Hey, Black Barn Social Club, God bless America. We're going to be talking boots with what has been we're going to talk boots about the John Lofgren combat boot. If you guys have watched the other video, you know this has been a little bit of a roller coaster, and I don't want to over dramatize the situation because we are just talking boots. It's just a pair of boots. But I do have to address a few things. And when I say just a pair of boots, I'm wearing a pair of Wolverine 1000 mile in black CXL. Bought them secondhand to me, $90. Excellent purchase, excellent boot. That's just a pair of boots. When you buy a Truman boot or a Red Wing boot and you go pay new money for that boot, you feel like you're getting a good value because it's, you know, depending on where they're priced and what you're getting just a pair of boots. When you start stepping up in money though, and you start stepping up to pay prices like you'd pay for a Viberg or you'd pay for some of those higher ends like John Lofgren, you start expecting a little bit more than just anything. I mean, that's the issue. When you spend your money on a Knicks or on a Whites, or I mean, anytime there's just that much of a difference, you start talking about, or you start expecting that premium experience, that something you expect more. So again, I know there's going to be people in the comments saying, you're overdoing this. One guy, in fact, on the last video said, bitching about scuffs on CXL is like complaining about water being wet. And if I'm being honest, that's a cuck thing to say. That's a weak, servile mentality to say when you trade damn near $1,000 for a pair of boots and you expect it to be great. You expect it to be all the things that John Lofgren says they are. So let me talk about John Lofgren for a minute. John Lofgren was established and founded in 1983. According to the website and according to things that I've read, just a passion. He's an American-born designer that now resides and constructs the boots in Japan. Passion for vintage footwear, committed to craftsmanship. I talked about it in the last video. Very high standards. Just to the point that he's not ashamed to say that what you're paying for is part of the recipe he intended. It's top-tier materials, skilled artisans, meticulous attention to detail, just expert craftsmanship. So paying higher wages, more just that you know that you're paying a little bit more for something, but you feel better about it because you're not worried about slave labor, you're not worried about child labor, you're not worried about, just all the things that people tend to attach their emotions and their feels to. So that's what, that's part of their shtick. That's part of their thing that they're going for in these boots. Now that being said, when you pay that premium and you hear all that sales pitch, not gonna lie, I expected a certain product come out of the box. What I found on that first one, you guys have already seen, was not that product. What I found was a very subpar, very, that big, blemish in the leather and a couple scuffs. So what I found was very subpar, and I'll say this right now, I had better service when I was talking to John Lofgren than when I talked to the stockist. And I really don't want to rehash any of that. You can go back and watch that other video. I really want to just talk about this pair of boots. So I will go on and move on. But I will say that John Lofgren is not above having a boot slip out that is subpar. Now, I don't really know what they would have done differently, because the way they handled my complaint was they dealt directly with substandard and strange, and I did end up getting a full refund and shipping back. And so as far as that goes, I'll never again spend money with substandard and strange. They are quite honestly piss poor when it comes to customer service, though it was resolved. These boots came from Lost and Found. The experience with these boots is what it should have always been. It was simple. It was fast shipping. And the box, and I'll show you just in a minute, I'll show you the boots came out just like you'd expect. So let's get into these boots, and we'll talk a little bit about them while I'm pulling them out. First thing you notice is again, well packaged. Lots of the, protected and layering going on, just so that it, nothing arrives more beat up than it has to. And there's one. You do get some pretty nice swag bags, I guess. These are certainly higher quality than some of the others that you pull out of boots, if you even get them. So I know it's not that uncommon to get boot bags, but it is uncommon to get them in this nice of a condition. There is a little card in here that's telling you about Lost and Found. So again, all I can do is recommend them as a stockist, because I didn't have a problem with the product. I'll leave that here so you can see it. I didn't have a problem with the product, but they seemed very friendly. And the note and the touches seem above and beyond. Again, nice boot bags, big ropes. I mean, that's just like I said, that's what you'd expect, right? You'd expect that when you keep seeing just such an important or such an effort put towards quality. Looking at these boots, I've already inspected them just because of my history. So I'm showing you guys something that, like I said, is far and away the most expensive boot that I've ever purchased. That being said, I don't want to get into saying things like, oh, they're worth it, or oh, they're not worth it, because that's a to each his own statement. To me, it was the style of this that pushed me over the top. I made a post the other day on the Instagram channel, and I said it's simply a must-have for me. And what do I mean by that? I mean that when I see this boot, when I first saw it, and when I first started digging into it, I mean, I just fell in love with the style and the design of it. I mean, and I can call out a couple of those things. The Dark Olive. The Dark Olive CXL, I love the way that looks, and I love the way it throws brown and green depending on the way the light hits it. Their contrast tan stitching, I love it. The laces, I mean, you can go change your laces if you want to, but the contrast tan laces, I love it. Simple chrome or stainless fittings and eyelets and speed hooks, all well made. They are the milled versions, but just having that being simple and that throwback to the Type 2 service boots from the war. I mean, again, it really does show that style that says we're gonna take something that we love, we're gonna build it to the nth degree. The stitching is absolutely flawless. So I know that you're a little bit further away, but just take my word for it. The stitching is flawless, and it is what you'd expect. going on with the details about the boot. 3-row stitching up the quarters. 3-row stitching around this and across the heel stay. Speaking of the heel stay, look at the way they just designed that one piece where it bellows out and it mushrooms out across that Achilles heel. That's, I mean, just even that alone was enough to catch my attention. And because, in a world where boots they cut that up, make it 2 pieces, they cut that up and make it's just a square piece. The time that it took to stitch that and follow that contour is just that little bit of extra when it comes to style. Nothing's overdone, but you can see this, just the way the stitching drops in. It, again, just a stylish way of stitching this boot. The rolled over and finished top here, just the collar. It's just, such an attractive boot, Vibram's 700 series cork sole, 7335 heel, in that brown speckled color. It just, like I said, it pops off of this dark olive and it looks fantastic. Everything about it, the way it's finished, is absolutely perfect. So even though I talked about how the first pair made it out and should have been kicked over as a second, and as far as I'm concerned, this is a story of redemption. This tells me that they do know how to make that type of a boot, because again, every single thing on this boot is absolutely flawless. And it's, again, I'm gonna try to refrain from saying the word worth it, because everyone's mileage may vary, but to me, when you get above a certain point of value add, when I'm talking about, and I purposely wore the Wolverine 1,000-mile boots that I got for $90. When you get above a point, when you're going, it's CXL, these are CXL. This is a boot that covers your foot. This is a boot that covers your foot. You start to get to a place where the thickness of the leather is the thickness of the leather. And then people will just go, but why would you pay so much more? And to me, it's everything points to style and how it attaches to you as a consumer or as a purchaser. When I saw these boots, the ones on my feet right now, I didn't lay awake at night. But when I saw these boots, these quickly shot up the list of something I needed to keep looking for. And then, one step further, when the other pair came in and they should have been second quality, it broke my heart, because I had already attached myself so much to this boot and so much to how much I was looking forward to this. It broke my heart. And then the way they treated me, the substandard and strange, the way they treated me, almost turned me off to the brand completely. I was this close to just saying, if Lofgren wants to support stockists like that don't give a rip about their customers, then maybe that's a bad mark on Lofgren themselves. But I couldn't quite get there because I didn't know how they handled the situation. I understand their discretion with that, but the more I thought about it, am I willing to turn my back on this boot because of that experience? And the answer was no. So that's why I say at an all cost. I swallowed some pride and I went back, I found a different stockist, and I said, let's try this again, because to me, this is worth giving that second chance to, and I'm glad I did. The toe cap. It's got that brogue look of a toe cap. Just little details, 4-row stitching, but with the perforations across the toe cap. Everything about it is taking that volume knob and turning it up to 11. Just an amazing boot. I'm tickled to death. That's all I wanted to say. The way they fit. We'll do an extended cut. One of the things I love about this boot, now these run a little bit large. So like for instance, this boot is an 11E. They come in the E width and it's an 11E. So they recommend you size a half size down. That's exactly what I did. When I put these boots on, the first thing I noticed was they do have the exaggerated toe box. They do have that extra room in the toe box. But they have a really tight, really narrow waist and a really good cupped heel. And again, I'm starting to realize that's my favorite fitting boot because you get the size where you need it, you get the support and the arch, the tightness around your arch where you want it, and it feels like you're tucked in. I think it solves a lot of the problem. You know, I'm a big fan of the 79 lasted Truman boots, but I think this solves a lot of the problems that boot experiences because with this tight waist, it draws in and trims up that downward looking profile. So when you're looking down there at it, and to me that does two things. One, it's more visually appealing, but also when you get that tight tuck on this arch, I think what you end up feeling is more support, and again it just looks trimmer. 360 degree welt, and again every bit of that, and I'm gonna call it the storm welt. 360 degrees, every bit of it is flawless. The seams, the stitching, it's just it's a stunning boot. So again, I don't want to. I know we're 17 minutes or so. I've got birds trying to attack the doors, so they're probably wrecking the sound. I just wanted to take a minute, talk these boots over, give them a proper review, and try to separate myself from some of the drama that was caused by that bad experience. Is the boot worth it? To me, I'll just say that I'm tickled with this purchase.